The story of Kim Jong Un begins in one of the most secretive countries in the world, North Korea. For many years, very little was known about his early life. Even today, some details about his birth and childhood are still unclear. Most experts believe he was born in the early 1980s. From the moment he was born, his life was very different from the lives of ordinary children in his country. He was born into one of the most powerful families in North Korea, a family that controlled the nation for many decades. Kim Jong Un is the son of Kim Jong Il, the former leader of North Korea. His grandfather was Kim Il-sung, the man who founded the country and ruled it for many years. Because of this powerful family history, Kim Jong Un grew up in a world of politics, power, and strict control. His grandfather created the system that made the Kim family the center of the country's leadership. After Kim Il-sung died in 1994, his son Kim Jong-il became the leader. The power of the country stayed within the family. North Korea is known for being one of the most closed countries in the world. The government controls almost everything, including information, media, and travel. Because of this, the life of the leader and his family is kept very secret. When Kim Jong-un was a child, very few people outside the government even knew he existed. His photographs were rarely shown, and his name was not often mentioned in public. As a young boy, Kim Jong-un lived in luxury compared to most people in North Korea. While many citizens struggled with poverty and food shortages during the 1990s, the Kim family lived in large homes with many guards and workers. Kim Jong-un had access to the best food, education, and entertainment available in the country. His life was protected and hidden from the outside world. Even though he lived a protected life, Kim Jong-un was growing up in a political family where power and leadership were very important. His father, Kim Jong-il, was known for being very strict and careful about who he trusted. It is believed that Kim Jong-il watched his sons closely to decide who might one day take his place as leader. At the time, Kim Jong-un was not the most well-known son. He had older brothers who many people thought would become the next leader. The Kim family also created a strong image around their leadership. In North Korea, the government teaches people to respect and honor the Kim family as the founders and protectors of the nation. Pictures and statues of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il can be seen in many places across the country. From a young age, Kim Jong-un grew up knowing that his family was seen as extremely important to the country's future. As the years passed, Kim Jong-un slowly became more important inside the government circles. But at this early stage of his life, the world knew almost nothing about him. He was simply a quiet boy, growing up behind closed doors in one of the most secretive political families in modern history. No one outside a small group of powerful people could imagine that this young boy would one day become the leader of North Korea and one of the most talked about figures in global politics. As Kim Jong-un grew older, his childhood remained hidden from the world. Very few people knew where he studied or how he lived during his early years. Unlike many children in North Korea, his life was carefully planned and protected by the government and his powerful family. The Kim family believed that privacy and secrecy were important for their safety and their control over the country. When Kim Jong-un was still young, his father, Kim Jong-il, decided that his son should receive some education outside North Korea. This was unusual because the country normally keeps its leaders and citizens separated from the outside world. Because of this decision, Kim Jong-un secretly traveled to Switzerland to study. To protect his identity, he did not use his real name. Instead, he lived under a different name so that people would not know he was the son of a powerful leader. In Switzerland, Kim Jong-un attended a school like many other students. People who later spoke about him said that he tried to live a normal life as a teenager. He wore simple clothes and spent time studying with other students. However, he was always watched carefully by adults who were sent by the North Korean government to protect him. These guards made sure that his true identity remained a secret. During his time in Switzerland, Kim Jong-un became interested in many things that young people enjoy. Some people who studied with him said that he loved sports, especially basketball. He was known to admire famous basketball players and often spent time watching games. This interest made him appear more like an ordinary teenager, even though his life was very different from others. Even though he was living in Europe, Kim Jong Un was still connected to the political world of his family. His father remained the powerful leader of North Korea, and the government continued to control every part of the country. While Kim Jong Un was learning about life outside his homeland, millions of people in North Korea continued to live under strict rules and government control. After several years of studying in Switzerland, Kim Jong Un eventually returned to North Korea. His time abroad was kept secret for many years, and only later did the world learn about his education there. When he returned home, he entered a system where loyalty to the Kim family was extremely important. Inside the country, his father's government continued to grow stronger, and the military played a large role in protecting the leadership. During this time, people inside the government began to see Kim Jong Un more often. Although he was still young, he started learning about the political system and the way the country was controlled. His father wanted someone from the family to continue ruling the country in the future. Because of this, the young Kim Jong Un slowly began to move closer to the center of power. At this stage of his life, the world still knew very little about him. He was simply the quiet son of a powerful leader, returning from his secret education and stepping slowly into the world of politics. Few people could imagine that this young man would soon rise to become the leader of North Korea and one of the most mysterious figures in global leadership. After returning to North Korea, the life of Kim Jong Un slowly began to change. He was no longer just the son of the leader. Instead, he was quietly being prepared for something much bigger. His father, Kim Jong Il, had ruled the country for many years and understood that one day someone would need to take his place. The leadership of North Korea had always stayed within the Kim family, beginning with his grandfather, Kim Il-sung. Because of this tradition, many people believed the next leader would also come from the same family. At first, it was not clear who would become the next leader. Kim Jong-il had several sons, and some people thought the older brothers would take power. However, over time, attention inside the government slowly began to focus on Kim Jong-un. Even though he was younger, his father seemed to trust him more. People close to the leadership began to notice that Kim Jong-un was being introduced to important officials and military commanders. In North Korea, the military is extremely powerful and plays a major role in the government. For anyone to become the leader, they must have strong support from the army and top political officials. Because of this, Kim Jong-un started appearing at important events with his father. These appearances allowed powerful figures in the government to see him and slowly become familiar with him. It was a way of introducing him to the country's leadership without making a big public announcement. Around the late 2000s, the North Korean government began quietly promoting Kim Jong-un inside the political system. He was given important titles and responsibilities, even though he was still very young. This surprised many observers outside the country. Some experts believed he did not have enough experience to lead a nation. However, inside North Korea, loyalty to the Kim family was considered more important than experience. At the same time, the health of Kim Jong-il began to weaken. Reports suggested that he had serious medical problems. Because of this, the need to choose a successor became more urgent. The government started to show more images and messages about Kim Jong-un in the media. Slowly, people inside North Korea began hearing his name more often. By the year 2010, Kim Jong-un was officially introduced to the public in a stronger way. He was given a high military rank and important positions in the ruling party. These actions made it clear that he was being prepared to become the next leader of the country. For many citizens, this moment was the first time they truly saw the young man who would one day rule their nation. Even though he was still learning about leadership, Kim Jong-un was now standing beside his father at major events. The world was beginning to notice him as well. Foreign governments and experts started studying him closely, trying to understand what kind of leader he might become. The stage was slowly being set for a major change in North Korea's leadership. The young successor was moving closer to power, and the future of the country was about to enter a new chapter. Soon, an unexpected moment would place Kim Jong Un at the very top of the nation's leadership. In the year 2011, a major moment changed the future of North Korea. The country's leader, Kim Jong Un, suddenly died. His death shocked the nation because he had ruled for many years and controlled almost every part of the government. For the people of North Korea, this moment was very important and emotional. The government quickly announced that his son, Kim Jong Un, would become the new leader. At the time, Kim Jong Un was still very young compared to many world leaders. Some experts outside the country believed he might not be ready to rule such a strict and powerful system. However, inside North Korea, the government strongly supported him. The leadership system of the country had already prepared for this moment. The ruling party, the military, and many high officials quickly showed their loyalty to the young leader. Soon after his father's death, Kim Jong Un was given powerful titles. He became the supreme leader of the country and took control of the government, the ruling party, and the military. These positions gave him the highest authority in North Korea. State media began showing his image often, and the government presented him as the rightful successor to continue the leadership of his father and grandfather, Kim Il-sung. During his first years as leader, Kim Jong Un faced an important challenge. He needed to prove that he was strong enough to lead the country. Because he was young, some powerful people inside the government might have doubted his authority. To solve this problem, Kim Jong Un began making strong and sometimes surprising decisions. One of the ways he showed his power was by changing important positions in the government and the military. Some officials were removed from power, while others were promoted. These changes helped Kim Jong Un place people he trusted in key roles. By doing this, he strengthened his control over the country. At the same time, the government continued to build a strong public image of the young leader. State television and newspapers often showed Kim Jong Un visiting factories, farms, and military bases. These images were meant to show him as a hard-working leader who cared about the nation and its people. Even though the country remained very closed to the outside world, foreign governments were watching these events closely. Many leaders and experts were curious about how Kim Jong Un would rule North Korea. Some wondered whether he would continue the strict policies of his father or introduce new ideas. During these early years of his leadership, Kim Jong Un showed that he wanted to maintain strong control over the country, while also presenting himself as a confident and powerful leader. Slowly, he moved from being the young successor to becoming the central figure in North Korean politics. By the middle of the decade, it was clear that Kim Jong Un had firmly established his authority. The young man who had once lived a secret life was now one of the most powerful and mysterious leaders in the world, guiding the future of North Korea in his own way. As Kim Jong Un became more confident in his leadership, he began shaping the future of North Korea in his own way. One of the most important parts of his leadership was strengthening the country's military power. North Korea had already been developing powerful weapons during the time of his father, Kim Jong-il, but Kim Jong-un pushed this program even further. Under his rule, North Korea carried out several missile tests and continued developing nuclear weapons. The government said these weapons were necessary to protect the country from its enemies. However, these actions created serious tension with many other nations around the world. Countries such as United States and South Korea strongly criticized these tests and called them dangerous. Because of these actions, North Korea faced many international sanctions. Sanctions are punishments given by other countries to try to pressure a government to change its actions. These punishments included limits on trade and financial activities. The goal was to slow down North Korea's weapons programs and encourage the country to follow international rules. Even though tensions were high, there were also moments when Kim Jong-un surprised the world with diplomatic actions. One of the most talked about moments happened when he agreed to meet with the President of the United States, Donald Trump. This meeting was very historic because it was the first time a North Korean leader had met with a sitting United States president. The meeting took place in 2018 in Singapore. During this event, the two leaders spoke about peace, nuclear weapons, and the future relationship between their countries. Images of Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump shaking hands were shown around the world. Many people hoped that this meeting could lead to better relations and reduce tensions. After that first meeting, the two leaders met again for more discussions. However, solving the problems between North Korea and other countries proved to be very difficult. Talks about reducing nuclear weapons and lifting sanctions did not fully succeed. Even so, these meetings showed that Kim Jong Un was willing to take part in global diplomacy. Inside North Korea, Kim Jong Un continued to present himself as a strong leader who could protect the country while also guiding it into the future. The government media showed him inspecting military bases, visiting factories, and leading important national projects. These images helped build his reputation as the central figure of the nation. At the same time, the world continued to watch North Korea closely. The country remained one of the most secretive nations on Earth. Very little information about its government and people reached the outside world. Because of this secrecy, Kim Jong Un remained one of the most mysterious leaders in global politics. Through military strength, international tension, and rare diplomatic meetings, Kim Jong Un shaped his image as a powerful and unpredictable leader. His decisions affected not only North Korea, but also the balance of power in many parts of the world. Despite being one of the most powerful leaders in the world, Kim Jong Un remains a very mysterious figure. Very few people outside North Korea know what his daily life is like. Even inside his country, the government controls almost every detail about the leader, including what citizens see on television and in newspapers. This secrecy has made Kim Jong Un a subject of curiosity and speculation for people all over the world. Kim Jong Un's personal life is carefully hidden, but reports from defectors and intelligence agencies have offered some clues. It is believed that he lives in luxurious homes with modern facilities and has access to the best food, entertainment, and comfort. Unlike most North Koreans, who face food shortages and strict government rules, he enjoys a lifestyle of wealth and privilege. However, even in this comfort, his life is strictly controlled. His movements are monitored by bodyguards and security teams to protect him from any possible danger. The leader is known to enjoy activities such as watching movies, listening to music, and playing sports. Basketball, in particular, is said to be one of his favorite pastimes. He has been photographed attending events and participating in cultural activities, but these images are carefully managed by state media. His public appearances are rare and often staged to show him as a strong and thoughtful leader who cares for his country. Even with his hidden personal life, Kim Jong Un continues to play a very active role in North Korea's government and military. He makes decisions that affect millions of people, from economic projects to military programs. His policies and leadership style have strengthened the power of the Kim family, while keeping the country isolated from much of the rest of the world. Citizens are taught to respect and honor him, just as they did with his father and grandfather. This system ensures that his authority remains unchallenged. The world outside North Korea remains fascinated by him. Media, experts, and foreign governments analyze every small action, every speech, and every photograph to understand the man behind the public image. Questions about his health, his decision-making, and even his personal habits have led to much speculation. Despite this, very little is confirmed, which adds to his mysterious reputation. Kim Jong Un's life is also connected to the future of North Korea. His leadership will influence how the country develops economically, politically, and militarily. The choices he makes could impact relations with neighboring countries and the wider international community. Many people are curious about whether he will continue his family's strict control or introduce changes to the country. In the end, Kim Jong Un is both a powerful leader and an enigma. His life combines privilege, secrecy, and responsibility in a way that few leaders in the world experience. For most people, he is a figure of mystery, curiosity, and sometimes fear. The story of his life shows how the legacy of a family can shape a nation, and how secrecy can make a leader both fascinating and unpredictable to the rest of the world.